What's that?
The first 6 minutes when we go to halftime, you do have time to go to the bathroom.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure.
The USL Summer of Soccer at fever pitch with championship contenders. In its first season, expansion Rhode Island FC has showcased its talent for the Ocean State. Swift and stunning, crafting their identity in real time. Detroit City has motored their way into America's soccer subconscious, grit permeating from all-consuming support. The home stretch begins with the USL on CBS. And we welcome you to the USL on CBS from the Motor City of Detroit. Detroit City take on Rhode Island FC. A big game in the Eastern Conference. Two teams level on 28 points, and this a major road marker toward potentially a top four finish and a home quarterfinal come the playoffs. And good afternoon, everyone. Joined by Ricky Lopez-Espin and Heather Mitz, the former national teamer. In a moment, Mike Watts on hand. And we've got a great game in store for you. In part, Ricky, because the summer of soccer is coming toward its conclusion. And now we're getting into the stretch run where everything's still there to play for.
Yes, it's the start of August, but this match does have a bit of a playoff feel to it. You look at the table, both teams tied on 28 points, and both teams very vocal that they want to host a playoff match. But in order to do that, you have to have the ability to find ways to win games like this.
Now, if you're Detroit City, you know if you've got Maxi Rodriguez playing well, anything is possible.
Individual brilliant player. He can stay high, but we might see him play a little bit deeper for Danny Dichio. Look for him to win 50-50 duels, be part of the build-out phase. But one thing that stays constant for Detroit City and Maxi Rodriguez, if you find him, you find success.
Is there any more impactful player to his team? 8 unbeaten in games with a goal contribution, only 1 win in 9 without. Meanwhile, Rhode Island got off to a terrible start to their expansion season, but Ricky, they're clicking now.
And you look at the talent, it was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when they would start to gel together. The talent that Connell Smith has on his front line, the ability to play with more confidence and express himself and be clinical in front of net. But the question is, Mike, for Rhode Island FC here at Keyworth, how good can they be at defending their own goal?
Earlier today, Heather caught up with their first ever signing, goalkeeper Koke Vegas.
Koke, Rhode Island are coming off of 3 wins where you've given up 4 goals during that span. As we know, Maxi Rodriguez is highly successful at scoring some goals. How do you minimize his chances today?
Well, I think we are in a really good moment, probably our best moment so far in the season. So I think the numbers are there. Of course, we have to respect Maxi and too many more players in their team and in the league. So every week we play against really good players. Maxi is one of them. So hopefully our system on the field can permit us be successful today and get a victory today.
Thank you. Good luck today.
Thank you so much.
As a great philosopher theorized once, are you ready for it? It's an atmosphere unlike anything in American soccer. Welcome to Hamtramck, Detroit, Rhode Island, next on CBS. Back at you. Make your own luck. Detroit has struggled through the last 5 games. Perhaps today they turn the tide. Detroit City welcome Rhode Island FC on CBS. Take a look at the starting lineup for Danny Dicchio. 6 changes, Ricky.
3-5-2 for this Detroit City side. Devin Amumensa, Stephen Carroll, Michael Bryant need to be very compact. We might see Bryant shift over to the right because Reese Williams will be more attack-minded. Murphy was shade to the left, but the first start in USL Championship for Danny Espeleta, how good can he be at understanding when to press, but also when to drop down and do defensive works for Rhode Island, a team that is flying at this moment in time. Again, 3-5-2 formation wide, but Mike, it all comes down to that front two. Dikwa and JJ Williams, how good can they be at understanding their movements? Noah Fuson will play in between the gaps, making those runs down the channel for Rhode Island and Connell Smith. First 10 to 15 minutes, extremely important.
86 career goals in the championship between Williams and Dikwa as they take the field here at Keyworth Stadium. The reigning league MVP, the MVP side. Can Detroit start the turnaround? They're level on 28 points, everything to play for. The top 4 spot, the primary focus for both. Detroit stands over the ball to begin the proceedings this afternoon. Here we go, Detroit City welcome Rhode Island FC to Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck, Michigan. Levi's, snap back to Murphy. Knocked down by Williams. Walked ahead by Espeleta. Mentioned his first start for Detroit. Rodriguez. Elvis Amol. Back heel didn't come off for the aforementioned Espeleta. And the offside flag was raised. You and I had a chance to talk with Rhode Island head coach Connell Smith. First year for this expansion team. They haven't been to Keyworth, but he has, and that's one of the major keys to this game. Take the support out of the game.
And one thing that he said, look, I love playing in front of this hostile environment. It's what you want. First season as the head coach of Rhode Island FC, Connell Smith, trying to implement that style for his side. Take the game away from Detroit City and try to take the sting out of this hostile environment.
Vegas. Off the head of Amumensa. We've averaged 7.5 goals in our 2 games scheduled to air on CBS this year. Ball ahead for Amol. Never got there. Grant Stolman circles around. Clever move by Dikwa. Noah Fuson. Dikwa crossing for Williams, and back to Nate Steinwasher. The accountant, they call him, a certified CPA on the side.
A little bit of a glimpse of how good this front three for Rhode Island can be. Whether it's Albert Dikwa, Noah Fuson making a run from a deep line position, trying to find JJ Williams. This back line for Detroit City have their handful with all the attacking power for Rhode Island.
Espeleta, Rodriguez. Over slides the Darce. Danny Dicchio takes over this Detroit City side from now sporting director Trevor James, former assistant in Toronto, the Canadian national team, the last 2 years in Sacramento. As a forward, a 17-year pro career. And Ricky, when he came in, he made it clear, we're going to score more goals than we have in the past. They're going to possess the ball, and they're going to find ways to be creative when they get to the final third.
That's a great ball there.
Yazid Matthews leads it over. Amo Denard Espeleta above the bar. Daniel Espeleta has played just 74 minutes in this league and nearly 3 minutes in.
Fantastic run off the shoulder from Yazid Matthews, but look at the lack of rotation for Grant Stolman, who comes in underneath. Great save from Koke Vegas, but if you're Espeleta, you're asking for a little bit of composure. You put this back on target. You do not need to hit it hard. Let momentum do its thing. Get clean contact, and you have Detroit City's first goal. As he's leaning back, it goes up and over the crossbar. A little bit of flex of the muscle from the home side here.
Pressure billowing forward from Detroit. Rhode Island cleared it, if only for a moment. Namu Mensah, who's got the ultimate center back green light, got a piece to slow Rhode Island down. Foul on Holstead. And Brett Levi has caught the wrong end of that, no doubt.
Bit of an awkward coming together. It's the aftermath from Clay Holstead that catches Brett Levi's on the follow-through. No ill will. I do think the two wingbacks for this Detroit City side are going to be really important in terms of their balance. You cannot overextend yourself. And just see how good Rhode Island can be in transitional moments.
Amo, up by Stoneman. Fuson came up short of it. Carroll and Holstead settles. Up from the Darce. Yao steps up to Espeleta. Espeleta let fly. Stoneman takes it off the chest, deflects it out for a corner, and it's a very inspired start from Detroit City.
First start in USL Championship for Daniel Espeleta. No problem whatsoever. Has a very good feel of when to join the attack and press higher. Very technically sound, comfortable in tight spaces. Good start for number 24.
Espeleta's got a place in both of our hearts, believe it or not. He went to Creighton, then he went to Fordham.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, no kidding. These are very tight confines here. If you look at the edge of the 18-yard box, there's a mark that's 10 yards off the corner flag. It's tight. Ball lobbed across, header up and away, and the whistle is gone. That's Carroll, the longest tenured Detroit pro sports captain, his 8th season. The Ireland native with Detroit. Steered on by Williams. Dikwa, league's most valuable player last year, the Golden Boot winner with Pittsburgh. Steinwasher accumulates.
That's a really good decision by Koke Vegas. You understand that Detroit City is pressing high. There's nothing wrong with playing Route 1.
Dikwa nearly jammed up Route 1. Williams. Murphy. Holstead on the run. Mensah. Bit of a struggle from Nadarse. He's got it now. Swerving around the outside. Jojea Quizera, electric winger. Fuson. Big switch for Turnbull. Stoneman. Ibarra. Ground down by Maxi Rodriguez. Williams got by. J.J. Williams in front, bobbled. Turnbull racing after it, and finally Steinwasser has it. This is one of the most sure-handed guys in the league, and that uncharacteristic early.
Bit of a nervy moment for this Detroit City goalkeeper, but what about this turn for J.J. Williams? As he plays it with the outside of his right foot, now you have the ability with that second touch to create a little bit of separation. Give credit to Nate Steinwasser. Yes, he makes a mistake, but recovers extremely well.
On the attacking third for Rhode Island. Late arriving, but up for the challenge here today in Hamtramck. Expansion side's first ever visit to Detroit. And this shielded all the way to the line. That has to stay in. Zara against Williams. Still play on, and what a move. Rodriguez with strength. Let's go down to Heather Mitz on the sideline today on this very hot day in Hamtramck. Heather?
Yeah, Mike, as you mentioned, this is the first time here for Rhode Island. They had some trouble getting in. They landed a little bit after midnight. They had dinner before going to bed. This morning, they were up from between 7 and 9 a.m., so a short turnaround with the early game. Also, the temperature on the field is 111 degrees right now. See how that affects this game today.
Thank you very much. It says 89, but this turf just reflects it right back into you, doesn't it, Ricky?
It's not nice to be on the pitch right now, but now if you're Rhode Island, doing with the climate here, the long travel day, the delays, everything that comes with that, how do you deal with adversity? You look at this Connell Smith side, taking care of the ball, make Detroit City come out of their shell, make them extend some energy and chase the game, and that's when you can break them down through your possession. We've seen glimpses of it, but has not been consistent enough within the first 10 minutes.
And Ricky, the reality of travel the last couple of weeks in this country has made it fairly difficult at times to ensure you're getting from A to B on time. If you're Rhode Island, how much does that really change your preparation for this game?
I think it maybe just pushes it up a little bit, right? You have to eat a little bit earlier. You don't get the same amount of sleep, things like that. But all of these players that are over the white line, they're professionals. They know how to deal with anything that they can't control. And one thing that we hear from every single coach, whether it's USL Championship or anything else, control what you can control. You can control your effort and you can control your attitude. And that's something that if you're Rhode Island, you need to be able to.
Becerra, Holstead, beyond Ibarra, Turnbull. Lopped off the ball by Levi's. Espeleta, now Rodriguez. Playing a bit deeper today. Lai Jope unavailable for Detroit, a massive part of their midfield, figuratively and literally. Do have a team in this league named for trains, El Paso Locomotive. That doesn't mean you get the glory of a train passing by as you do at Keyworth. Rodriguez, a lot of space. Matthews, Espeleta, deflected. Corner for Detroit City. They have been the aggressor in the first 11 minutes.
It's really well worked here from Detroit City. You start on one side of the field and look at the space centrally. That first touch from Maxi Rodriguez, he takes out about 5 Rhode Island players, and this little layoff from Matthews is fantastic. Information on this pass. Espeleta needs to hit it first time. Hits it well, bit of a deflection by Yao. Danny Dicio, you need to see a little bit more of that in terms of your attacking presence.
Corner for Detroit. Amu Mensah got up for it.
Mike, it was really interesting speaking with Connell Smith earlier today. He said one of the keys is our spacing centrally between Ibarra and Holstead. In that moment there, both players got caught on one side of the field, and now you start to see the real estate open up. So defensively, your balance is everything for Rhode Island.
They typically struck the right balance on the road. They struggled at home all the way into June, finally accumulated their first win, although their last loss preceding this 7-game unbeaten run, their longest of their expansion season, came to Detroit in Smithfield, Rhode Island, the temporary home campus of Bryant College. Flick on from Quizera. Alvesamo. Rodriguez off the mark, Ibarra. Two 2-0 on June the 8th. Maxi Rodriguez and Victor Becerra off the bench. It's the only shutout loss Rhode Island has suffered in their first season. Levied off from Matthews, sought the return, option wide, closed down by Turnbull. Now Rodriguez plays. Levi's hangs the cross too high for Espeleta. He's been a ball magnet in his first 13 minutes.
And really impressed with the middle three for Detroit City. Maxi Rodriguez pops in a little bit deeper. Now he pulls the strings. And Espeleta's been really clever at the spaces he picks up off the shoulder of Ibarra and Holstead.
Turnbull run over by Levi's. Previous cross, a little more danger from the Detroit attack.
Talked about the outside backs providing width and also an overload for Detroit City. Fantastic shape on this ball from Brett Levi's. Unable to get on the end of it. Daniel Espeleta.
And we spoke with Danny Dicio, the Detroit head coach, yesterday. And part of that conversation, they have 21 shots inside the opponent's penalty area over the last 2 games. And yet they've only got 1 goal in their last 4. And there's a forward mentality trying to ensure remains cultivated, including playing 2 big strikers in Matthews and Amo up front, but getting Espeleta and Maxi Rodriguez in there as well.
It's really similar for both teams because you look at Amo, you look at Matthews, very comfortable with the ball at their feet and invite a lot of pressure. So now that opens up real estate for players underneath to make secondary movements, whether it's coming to feet or whether it's running into the channel. The same can be said for Rhode Island. J.J. Williams will be the focal point. Albert Deke will play off of him, as well as Noah Fuson. So now defending, we talk about this game being won and lost in the center part of the field. Who's going to double down and do the dirty side of the game?
Long for Dikwa. Pleasant first touch. Becerra. Williams. Of course, Dicio also admitted these long balls like this are not the end game of playing 2 big strikers up front. He said nothing is more difficult for him as an attacking player, getting smashed in the back of the head over and over and over again, is that hold up center forward. They want to play into Matthews and Amo's feet and let everyone run around them. Quarter hour gone in Hamtramck, entirely encased, this town, by the city of Detroit. 12 years of Detroit City Football Club. Northern Guard says they're America's most hated supporters group, vocal as anyone. And it's much talked about within the league just how difficult it is to play here as a result. This will skitter out of play. Does this remind you of anything from your playing career?
Never, nothing close to it. I'll tell you what, when I was playing, these are the games that you want to play in. You feed off the energy.
Forward from Matthews, out of his reach. Stoneman up and away. Holstead got a piece. Matthews after it. Pinballs around to Darce upfield. Throw for Nadarce, former teammate of yours in Miami.
He's found a nice little rhythm finding the back of the net. 4 goals on the season. Very comfortable on the ball for the size that he is on the back line for Connell Smith.
Into space, Turnbull firing on all cylinders into the final third. Turnbull across, header down, ricochets around and out. It's going the other way. Did that catch the arm of Albert Dikwa, who's still in pursuit of his 50th career regular season goal?
But this is some sort of ball from Stephen Turnbull. Just watch the movement from Albert Dikwa. He starts on the blind side, the last second slashes across the face of Stephen Carroll. Unable to get on the end of it. Very unlucky for Rhode Island. As we take a look at it here, it's the right arm that catches Albert Dikwa. It is a handball. Fantastic call from Lorenzo Hernandez, our center referee.
Into the pocket, Holstead. Ibarra, big offseason acquisition from Pittsburgh. Teammates with Dikwa there. Playing for last year's Players' Shield winner. Best record in the league under head coach Bob Lilly. Ball returned and then flicked away from Fuson. Both on 28 points. Connell Smith's message to his team: if you want a home playoff game at the end, you have to win games like this on the road. Especially, it could have been death by 1,000 paper cuts at the beginning of the year. 10 draws to their credit, but it kept them afloat long enough. Now they've been excellent all the way down to Steinwasher. Detroit, on the other hand, came out firing. 5 wins from 5, Open Cup glory. Knocked out the reigning champion in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup on the road. Houston 3-3 in extra time and penalties. The season has soured a bit, and yet they've lost no motivation nor confidence. Sent long, Quezera knocked it down. Still Williams, Reese Williams. Contact from Nadarce and an immediate Lorenzo Hernandez wave. No foul.
It's what you get from Reese Williams, their work rate, the ability to be vertical on the right-hand side. But as he takes this long touch, watch how he just gets centrally and he looks for it. There is a little bit of contact, but I do think he goes down a bit too easily. The wingback for Detroit City. He invites a contact. I do think it's a good no call yet again from Lorenzo Hernandez. And if you're Frank Nadarce, you need to be very clever. How quickly can you move your feet in around your 18-yard box?
Last couple years at Rio Grande Valley, couple years the Inter Miami organization. Nadarce still only 23 years old. Center back from Cuba. Away from Dikwa.
Take care of the ball.
Carroll.
Doesn't come off that instance, Mike, but you look at the space in between the lines for Rhode Island. Ibarra Holstead getting caught a little bit too high. And Espoleta, they're just splitting the difference. So now you need to be a little bit more compact if you are Connor Smith. 2 things need to happen. Your 2 center midfielders need to drop off, or your 3 center backs need to push a little bit higher.
Matthews retreats to the ball. Go against Ibarra. And Dikwa is shoved away by Murphy. I said it to him when I met with him yesterday. There's a little bit of the New Jersey attitude that just permeates this guy. An elite passer within USL, no doubt. And lest we forget, well, he's certainly got a big mouth. He's the first to say it. He came in with only 3 weeks remaining before preseason. Didn't have a lot of offers. The fact that Detroit was able to snag him at the end of free agency, wild.
I think he's been fantastic, and he fits in right as a glove for this Detroit City side because he does all the dirty work. He shields that back line, connects the passes, moves this game along. So now you afford the players around him to express themselves higher up the field.
Does all the dirty work. Really, Detroit prides themselves on having guys that know that role all too well. Turnbull latching onto Amu Mensah. Belongs to Rhode Island. Ball through for Dikwa by Fuson. Dikwa and line cutback. Williams ricochets away from Bryant. Holstead kept it alive. Ibarra. Best chance for Rhode Island yet comes midway point of the first half. Maybe there's more. Quizera crossing. Snared by Steinwasser. Rhode Island team that's bagged 21 goals in the last 7 games after only 11 goals in their first 12. Have one of the worst conversion rates in the league. It just took Dikwa and Williams finding some familiarity, a little bit of comfort, a little bit of puck luck that had been missing, finally getting them going. Appeal for a handball. They say it comes off an arm close to the body. Amo grappling with Stoneman. Rodriguez goes in on Williams. Williams remains down. Detroit starts through Espeleta. Ball ahead. Amo settles. Amo saw Matthews coming back to the spot. Williams. And meanwhile, they'll stop play here and go back to the injured J.J. Williams. And the way he reacted to that, you knew instantly there was something to this. Dealt with a sports hernia at the beginning of the season. Was able to get that fixed up. And the goals started flowing from Rhode Island in the time since. Williams, a major acquisition, who played under then assistant coach at Birmingham and their head coach Tommy Sohn for a couple of years. Followed Smith to Rhode Island with this new project. Take a look at Rodriguez going in on a 50-50.
Yeah, it's a hard 50-50 challenge between J.J. Williams and Maxi Rodriguez. I do think it's the second leg of Rodriguez that catches J.J. Hopefully he's okay to continue on. Talk about his injury problems for Rhode Island. He can be a special player for Connell Smith.
Thumbs up, that's good news. Meanwhile, Rhode Island, really good chance a moment ago.
When it comes down with off-the-ball movement, just watch Albert Dikwa. Amu Mensah, he turns off, and then center of your screen, J.J. Williams understands Michael Bryant is going to continue to retreat, so where's the space? It's a cutback. Just so unfortunate. Hits it into the defender. If he picks out a corner, it's 1-0. Rhode Island, last-ditch defending effort from Michael Bryant.
And Williams the opportunity. Try and bag his second goal of the year. Former first-round pick of Columbus. He grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and he said soccer really wasn't big there at all. So in reality, he didn't really know what a soccer ball was. I think that's a marginal exaggeration. Until he was 10 or 11 years old. His brothers were playing at the YMCA. Ultimately, they were down a player. They were able to get him a jersey and some boots. They get him out on the field, scores 2 goals, and it all took off from there. First-round pick for the Columbus Crew, and ultimately had the chance to go back and play in his home state in Alabama with Birmingham for a couple of seasons as well. Hydration break is launched in part due to the stoppage. And how about we tell you about what's going on up in Rhode Island? Tidewater Landing is what they're calling it. It's a full complex that includes the new Rhode Island FC Stadium. And already they're hard at work. The renderings are gorgeous. It's set to open next year. The steel is already topped out. And you can expect it to be packed, just as Burn Stadium has been in their expansion season. The team had a chance to walk through there yesterday. We spoke with Cano Smith. How often have you been able to see the progress there? So I drive by it every day, so it doesn't really surprise me. Maybe no one spends more time in that stadium than I do, and hopefully that'll be the case for a long time.
What a fantastic stadium in addition to USL Championship that will be. Look at this Rhode Island side. The support that they've had has been fantastic. Year one in USL Championship and making a name for themselves in terms of their identity and how they want to play on both sides of the ball.
And that's exciting in New England, make no mistake. It's a region of champions. You think through the Patriots and Foxborough Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, but what about the Providence Steamroller? Not Steamrollers. That's been in question for a while, but 1928 NFL champions. The Patriots didn't win their first title till after the turn of the millennium. They played from 1916 to 1933. And now Rhode Island's got a team to call their own again. The concept of the name, that Providence team, so all-powerful that a fan went to get a hot dog, and apparently, this is Wikipedia telling me this, someone said, man, they're really steamrolling the opposition, and steamroller came out of it. Here's Rhode Island steamrolling into the final third. Dequa hangs the cross up toward Williams, comes high. Holstead went for goal. Carroll took it off the noggin. Turnbull back out to Dequa. And out of the reach of Turnbull.
Sometimes it's not the initial ball can cause issues. It's a second wave. Holstead has a very good feel of when to push a little bit higher. That's bravery at its finest from Stephen Carroll, the captain for this home side.
By the way, there's something really beautiful about this venue, but the site for a future Detroit City Stadium already purchased. A lot of reporting about that, including over on USLChampionship.com on Wednesday with leadership from Detroit City, talking about a stadium they'd hope to open in 2027. Williams quaffs it ahead. Never got to Dequa. Mo. Stoneman made that difficult off the back of Espeleta. I think players don't like being here with the opposition. Imagine Lorenzo Hernandez.
Do not envy his job whatsoever.
No, tough gig for the guy in blue today.
He's done well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Done really well.
Darce. Murphy tapped into the width. Stays with the side in the gold Rhode kits, that being R-H-O-D-E, Rhode. Quizera. Cross. Turnbull was coming. He called off Dequa. Offside never occurred. Williams. And down to ground. Steinwasser, genuflex, gets it over the line. Although now the offside flag has been raised.
Rhode Island is finding a lot of success on wide parts of the field, and then it's a cutback ball that's been causing issues. Backside of your screen, about a yard off from Quizera.
Espeleta. Mensa. Okay. Holstead. Zara glides by Williams. Up high. Fuson! You know he can score those. How about we go downstairs? Heather Mitz with Detroit City head coach Danny Dicchio.
Coach, what did you just say to your team during the hydration break?
I just said we need to be a little bit cleaner with the ball. I feel we started the game really well, but now we're making a little bit too many turnovers, and it's kind of feeding into their press, which they're doing well with. There's a couple of challenges that are going either way, which I expected it to be a close game. But again, another one there. So no, I just want our guys to be cleaner with their decision making.
Daniel Espeleta getting his first start today. How's he been playing so far?
Yeah, we're trying to get him on the ball, finding those little split gaps. It's the number 10 role. He's a kid that works tirelessly. He's got really good technical skill, good low balance. So if we can get him in those spots and turn him, facing forwards, hopefully we'll have some joy.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
That's exactly what I was talking about, Mike. You look at the spaces that Espeleta will pick up. You need him to be operating right in front of that back three, because now you have the players off the ball that can make those runs, much like this.
Williams was gesturing out there. Quizera into his back with a little grip of the jersey as well. And finally the whistles arrived. Yet another set piece for Detroit. A number of corners and now likely a dangerous free kick.
And we've seen Detroit City have a lot of success when they start on one side of the field and they have the outlet on the weak side. A little bit of a backtrack from Marky Barr that catches Reese Williams, him, and Quizera. Very physical with the wingback for Detroit.
Danny Dicchio did a great job sidestepping a league fine for officiating commentary there, right? Sometimes silence is the best answer.
He's been here once or twice.
Well, and we just found out he was a DJ while he was playing. During his 17-year career, he'd play a road game, and then on the way back home, he'd stop off in London and do a set. I mean, this guy, one of the most eclectic music lovers I've ever met. It was like half our chat yesterday. A lot of big bodies, not the least of which Carroll, Matthews, and a Mo. We've also got Amu Mensah, could swing it back in. Carroll was the target, and the whistle's gone. This is offside. Tomorrow, one summer hoops regular season comes to a close with playoff berths up for grabs. Live coverage of the Big Three begins tomorrow at 3 Eastern on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. Have you seen the 3v3 Olympic coverage so far?
I've seen it.
I'm out of breath just thinking about it. Big Three, fun time. All the while, the U.S. women coming up with a tremendous late result against Japan earlier today. Trinity Rodman, the winner in extra time. Of course, the USL Super League launches in just 2 weeks. 18 months in the making. Super League with 8 teams, a new first division league in the U.S. This is bubbling up. Carroll's wagging his finger. Rodriguez just got shoved away. Hopefully we avoid any Joe Louis impersonators.
Just so physical. Mardiqua. Murphy comes through on the secondary action. He has every single right to play for this ball. Just unfortunate, Alberdica goes down a bit too early. He gets a hard end of it. Don't think there's any ill will, intention from that young man.
Doesn't stop about half the 2 playing squads from getting a little rowdy down there. Amu Mensah and Dikwa just made peace. Dikwa, 49 career goals in the regular season. Golden Boot winner with Pittsburgh last year. You think about the first 5 years of his career coming over from Cameroon, largely with Orlando and St. Louis. 90 games, only 12 goals. Last 2 years, 64 games, 31 goals, including 6 this season now.
We just see him maturing up in front of our eyes, the ability to affect games with not finding the back of the net, making those runs to pull out center backs, and that's when J.J. Williams can really benefit with playing next to Alberdica.
And Dequa's only 26. We feel like we've been seeing this guy for a decade because we almost have. He just started so young. Levi's swept into the bench. Came up a bit awkwardly. A run-in with Karifa Yao. Came in from Vancouver over the offseason. Down goes Fuson.
And those are moments, Mike, that if you're Danny DQ, you have the ability to retain possession a little bit cleaner. It's your own attacking throw-in. Sloppy touch from Levi's. Now you get caught wrong-footed. You afford Rhode Island the ability just to whip this thing into a dangerous area and cause a little bit of chaos in front of Nate Steinwasser.
Ibarra. Had a lot of height on it. Williams clatters into the corner. Williams, Fuson. Darcy, nothing doing. Tomorrow on Big Brother, alliances are forming, showmances are blooming, and the twists just keep on coming. What's next for the house guests? Find out on a new Big Brother tomorrow after Tulsa King on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. Ball inside for Turnbull. Just a bit too far beyond his path. Busy week for Stephen Carroll. 18th start of the season. Always busy, the Cork City Youth. Arrived at the club in 2017. Holstead from tight quarters. Rounds the corner, lofts into the box. Samu Mensah away. Turnbull. He leapt into it. Is the run out on? Slowed by Ibarra. Hangs in the air. Steinwasser. It's not the biggest Nathan Steinwasser, but almost like a handball goalie described by his head coach. Guy who's endeared himself, no doubt, in Detroit.
Athletic ability, never questioned. Shot stopping as well, and very comfortable with the ball at his feet. A luxury to have if you are Detroit City.
Down the line, offside flag raised. And the thing with Steinwasser, we spoke with Carlos Saldana, who's competed hard for that #1 job. Steinwasser just grabbing that job back. And part of the conversation is it's almost surprising seeing day to day just how hard this guy works and how his habits are in training. And it suddenly makes a lot of sense how much success he's had with this group. So when Dikio came in and Saldana joined him coming in from Sacramento, Steinwasser 2-year guaranteed deal to stick around, and he's retained the shirt most of the season. Collision with Carroll and Holstead plays through. Williams overtaken by Quizera illicitly. Stoneman, Dikwa, Ibarra, Espeleta. Both his parents in biology for a living. He ended up at Costa Rica for a couple of years playing professionally. But it was a 6-month injury that led him to the college route. 4 years at Creighton, got his master's in data science at Fordham in the Bronx. And then jumped into the pro game waiting for a chance, was a trialist. It took a couple weeks. Eventually, Espeleta into the team, his 5th appearance for Detroit in the regular year, and his first start. Mo, Mensa, back to Bryant. Swerving in, Mo. Got the first touch, and Yao cleans him off the ball and allows Koke into the frame. Rodriguez through the back.
Teams are starting to figure out defensively what structure they want to implement here. Specifically the double base, whether it's Murphy and Maxi Rodriguez for Detroit City, Ibarra and Holstead for the visiting side. More connected, watch out.
Turnbull took it away, ahead. Turnbull off the mark. He and Fuson playing off one another. Took that high up the field and unable to put Detroit to the sword for it.
What an opportunity this would be for Steven Turnbull. He's onside by about a yard, but now you're asking for decision making. He needs to go up and over Steinwasser as he goes down a little bit early, or you go around him. Really difficult technique to cut it back across your body momentum, because Steinwasser has his right leg extended to close down that area of the goal. Opportunity that goes to the wayside for Rhode Island.
No one better 1v1 in the league for his profile, according to Danny Dicchio, and Steinwasser made himself as big as he could. Quick throw into the box, Amu Mensah. Got away from Ibarra. Does Detroit find their reward beyond Elvis Amo? Dikwa. Pinged off Fuson. Ball ahead down the line, Quizera. Stridently winning a corner.
Reese Williams get caught. He gets his hips caught square. You always want to have the ability to see the runner and the player on the ball. As Houston's running horizontally, Quizera time it to perfection. Won a very dangerous set piece right before halftime.
For Rhode Island will be their first this afternoon. 90-degree heat index on the field says 110. 4 added minutes at the end of the half. Barra, Big Ten midfielder of the year at the University of Michigan, couple of years at Pittsburgh alongside a former Wolverine teammate in Robbie Mertz. After much consternation, Ibarra fell to the backside. Stoneman knocked down and eventually held by Steinwasser. He got a lot of leather on that.
This is some stave from Steinwasser. Just look at the traffic in front of him. About 4 bodies. He sees it late to keep it up from going over the goal line. Frank Nadarce, he rises up. He requires so much attention. Really clever from Grant Stoneman just to peel off the shoulder. Does everything right, but straight at Steinwasser.
I think with Carroll on the goal line, that would have been onside despite the goalkeeper being shielded there. Fuson, if he can catch up, would have been a real danger. Well done by Carroll. His frustration bubbles. Fuson takes the high hop. Quizera off into the corner with Williams. Fans raised nearly $750,000 for renovations, fan investment in 2020. And you're part of this team. You are really part of this team here in Detroit. Dicchio has said now multiple times, there's a lot of misconceptions about Detroit, but these people are so passionate about their city and about their teams. He's absolutely loved his first year in Detroit. Floated onward, Amu Mensah's coming. He and Steinwasser went for it. Header lob toward goal by Dikwa. Button off the line. Fuson would have been offside. And now the offside flag has gone up. Steinwasser did leave the penalty area for that, and so he couldn't use his hands. He and Amu Mensah colliding in midair.
But it's a deep run from Noah Fuson that's been causing issues. No one tracks him whatsoever, so now that causes a little bit of confusion between Amu Mensah and Steinwasser. Look about last-ditch defending effort from Michael Bryan. As this ball has eyes for the back of the net. The body control to gut it up and over the crossbar to deny Albert Dikwa the opening goal here. Fantastic recovery from their center back.
That's twice now, Bryant. That time off the line, but also that deflected shot from J.J. Williams earlier. Say Bryant's been the MVP of this game for Detroit. Suddenly it's 3v3 in the back. Williams, that's a vital intervention for Carroll.
Too many times, Mike, this back three for Detroit City is getting exposed, having to put out way too many fighters.
3v3 the other way. Williams dances in, and the Tasmanian Devil in that moment, leaving a cloud of dust behind Nadarce, and halftime arrives here at Hamtramck. It is definitely the fight we thought we were going to get.
I think if you are Connor Smith, you're probably the happier of the two managers. You come into halftime 0-0, and as the first half progressed, you started to find your identity. You started to find that front three between Albert Dikwa, J.J. Williams, Noah Fuson, putting a lot of pressure under that man. And for Danny Dicchio, I do think you need to get Maxi Rodriguez on the ball a lot more. Get him on the ball and make him more influential in the next 45.
Detroit's defense staunch as ever, and the captain of the side, Stephen Carroll, with Heather Metz on the field. Heather.
Stephen, quite the defensive performance by your team in that first 45. Rhode Island are number 4 right now in goals scored. How do you keep them off the board in the next 45?
Just effort. You know, we know our defensive duties. We know where they're going to be strong at. Just making the plays, getting there, making the plays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We get Carroll huffing and puffing. What a wild conclusion to the first half. End-to-end stuff. Detroit City showing off to a national audience. Steinwasser and DCFC hanging in against Rhode Island. Scoreless at the half on CDS.
Halftime from Keyworth Stadium in Detroit. One of the most atmospheric rounds in the USL Championship is this afternoon. Detroit. Halftime from Keyworth Stadium in Detroit. One of the most atmospheric rounds in the USL Championship is this afternoon. Detroit City play host to Rhode Island FC. As welcome in to our CBS studios, Chris Whittingham alongside the former USL veteran Michael Lahoud. And Michael, one of the developing stories in this league, it's the platform that it's providing for players to earn moves, whether within the United States and to MLS, but also abroad. Here are some of the players that we've already seen go. Jonathan Gomez going from Louisville City to Real Sociedad kind of opened that door going to Spain. Diego Luna within MLS, as did Fidel Barajas going from Charleston Battery to Real Salt Lake. Kobe Henry, the Orange County defender, going to Stade de Reims in France. And Joshua Winder going from Louisville to Benfica for more than $1 million in a transfer fee. And we have potentially more on the way. According to Tom Bogert, our CBS transfer insider, the Charleston Battery has rejected multiple offers from Spanish second division side CD Castellon for star striker Nick Marcanic. The 24-year-old leads the USL Championship in goals this season. He's also reportedly on the radar of MLS clubs. And for more on that, let's bring in the aforementioned Tom Bogert. Tom, what can you tell us about the potential for Marcanic to move abroad?
I can tell you that the Charleston Battery have rejected multiple offers from CD Castellon, who just got promoted to the Spanish second tier. I was told the latest offer was somewhere around $100,000 and just barely including add-ons. This is not a deal that Nick Marcanic is beating down the door to make the club accept. He is happy where he is. He is considering his options for the future. Again, as you alluded to, I reported that MLS clubs are monitoring this situation. They are impressed by his performances in the USL Championship, as he is the runaway Golden Boot leader. And whether it's a move for the summer, but much more likely to be the winter, MLS could be in his future, or a move to Europe could still happen. Back to you, Woody.
Thanks, Tom. And Michael, what do you feel like the change in emphasis has been in this league, from clubs trying to establish themselves within their markets and trying to win games to now potentially providing a platform for young players to move abroad?
It's two things. It's the implementations of academy systems. And you go back to 2020, which was a marquee year, and more teams getting academy teams. Now over half the league has academy clubs, but also the exposure of USL clubs going global, baby. It's about playing notable Bundesliga sides like Eintracht Frankfurt, which Louisville City did a couple days ago. Doesn't matter about the result. It's all about the exposure.
Yeah, that exposure and that ability to provide proof of concept. There have been players that have gone that have performed well, and ultimately in global soccer, it's about finding players wherever they may be. Still more halftime to come here. It is Detroit City taking on Rhode Island FC on the USL on CBS. Stay with us.
I'm on my grind, chasing wins. We in our prime, you don't really have a chance. We call the game, we locked in. Yeah, we here to take it all, we don't pretend. It's our time, there's no end. We get rewarded for the work that we put in. We call game, we locked in. Yeah, we here to take it all, we don't pretend.
Still more USL Championship to come on the networks of CBS. This evening, Monterey Bay taking on Tampa Bay Rowdies from 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That one is live on the CBS Sports Golazo Network on Wednesday. This very same Detroit side taking on Pittsburgh, and you've got two more games for you there on the Golazo Network. Michael, we've got this Monterey Bay Tampa Bay game tonight live on the Golazo Network. How do you see that one going?
I really am favoring this Tampa side because of form. Form is everything in the USL Championship. Winners of 3 straight coming in, they're going to be rolling.
And that one is live tonight from 10 p.m. on the Golazo Network. We'll get you back out to the second half of Detroit City and Rhode Island next.
Next weekend, our final PGA Tour event of the season. Some of the best golfers in the world will be teeing it up at the Wyndham Championship. Live coverage begins next Saturday and Sunday at 3 Eastern on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. Back here at Hamtramck, sub at halftime, Zach Arivo and Colin Smith make that Ryan Williams for Detroit coming in at the break. Zach Arivo, 3 goals in the last 2 games, has scored in back-to-back games. He was asked at the post-game presser in the come-from-behind win against North Carolina, where are these goals coming from? He said, oh, no, really, maybe more joy coming back home, playing in front of his family. So many injury issues over the last 12 months, but Arivo's back and better than ever. In the gold, Rhode Island will move right to left in this second half of play as we seek the go-ahead outside Detroit. Second half underway. The USL is on CBS. 2 teams on 28 points, right beneath a home playoff position, being top 4 in the Eastern Conference. Maxi Rodriguez bashed from behind, caught the contact to the back of the head.
Those 2 players have collided numerous of occasions this afternoon. It's a left shoulder arm area of JJ Williams that comes through and catches Maxi Rodriguez. Talked about how important Maxi will be for Detroit City on both sides of the ball as JJ Williams picks up our first yellow card.
And as Maxi Rodriguez makes his way off for the moment, let's look at the best chances of the first half.
It's an off-the-ball run from Elma Samo. He just comes centrally. He beats Frank Nodarce, but what a save this is from Koke Vegas. Big bear claw going back the other way. We talk about defending responsibility. A little bit of confusion between Amu Mensah and Steinwasser. Michael Bryan says, no, sir. Up and over as we walk into halftime. 0-0.
Way down to Koke Vegas. First half stats will show you a fairly even game. Rhode Island 10 shots to 5, more on target, but ultimately the physicality fairly even, possession of the ball fairly even, and that was a major talking point coming into the game with Cano Smith. Can you hold on to the ball long enough to keep Detroit from getting in a rhythm?
He wanted to take the game away from the home side, and as that first half progressed, they actually did that. They started taking on the ball a little bit, playing more vertical and breaking lines, but now can they continue that in this next 45?
Espeleta, all bouncing up to a Mo. Mo whistled for the foul. For more on the substitutions at halftime, down to the 3rd member of our team, Heather Mitz.
Yeah, for Rhode Island, Zachary Hervo, it was inserted early to bring calmness and possession to the midfield. And for Detroit, Ryan Williams will play in that similar position to Murphy in hopes that they can connect the lines better.
That's right, Williams will play right in front of this back 3. So now you have Maxi Rodriguez and Espeleta, the ability to push a little bit higher and fill in the gaps. On the other side for Rhode Island, it's all about balance between Hervo and Holstead. As one goes, the other one needs to provide coverage. So 2 tactical changes from both managers.
Mentioned Hervo on this goal-scoring tear. Williams arguably scored the goal of the Open Cup away to Houston right at the end of the first half that changed the momentum. What turned into a 3-3 draw, went all the way to penalties. And one of the more famous wins in Detroit City history in America's National Soccer Championship. Still one team going in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup going into the semis from the USL Championship. Indy 11. We'll see Atlanta. Not too far away from those semifinal matches as Steinwasser launches. Rhode Island, 3-game win streak, 7 unbeaten, 5 wins in that time out of their 6 on the season. This team's tied for 6th place on points in the 12-team Eastern Conference. Williams hunting. Williams throwing. There is now a Ryan, a Reese, and a JJ Williams all on the field. As JJ is peeling himself off the turf with the help of the opposing head coach from Detroit. Reese Williams, Elvis Amo, Levi's now Amo against Turnbull. Levi's bouncing toward Matthews. So goes against Matthews.
I think he's been really good, Zede Matthews, for Detroit City. The ability to bring players into the game. Physical number 9, soft feet. And in that instance, Raphael, flawless in his positioning.
Fuson. Rodriguez, the plan to play him deeper today, but we mentioned pregame the team 8 unbeaten with a goal contribution from Maxi this year. Matthews. Amo.
Just a bit overzealous, Amo. He sees a run from Levi's coming around the corner. Need to collect and have a clean first touch, and then you can play him in. But if you're Detroit City, when you recover the ball, your first look needs to be forward. You need to play into your front line. I'm Danny Espeleta, Norma Samoa, Zede Matthews, because there is real estate to operate in. This Rhode Island side has conceded 30 times in this 2024 campaign.
So against Turnbull. By the way, you and I were listening into the CBS Sports Golasso Network coverage at halftime. Our thanks to Chris and Mike LaHood, former USL player, talking about all these transfers. You and I were talking, one of the big results this weekend, Charleston dropping 5, so Nick Marcanic now 20 goals, 5 off the league record. And then Nate Worth with the Rowdies, 2 goals last week. Another young player who's made the best of the opportunity since transferring in May from Tulsa.
Did you see his free kick?
Yeah.
Incredible technical ability. That young man has a fantastic future in front of him.
Carroll didn't get that quite right. It was Dominic Gasso, the young player that they signed here in Detroit to a 5-year deal that ultimately scored the winner against Pittsburgh in the 1-8 upset in the Eastern Conference last year. You'd imagine Rhode Island will start to find their way into the Youth Academy setup as they launch their club. It's only their first year. Corner taken, and Steinwasser plucks it out of the air. Quick distribution. Espeleta's got a little room here. Snuck by Williams.
Just a wrong foot from Espeleta. As Reese Williams is running vertically, you need to put it into his path so you can take that positive second touch. As you played behind him, it's a transitional moment. That goes to the wayside.
Come on. It's not a legal throw-in.
Only the fans in Detroit would be talking about what is or isn't a legal throw-in. It's a really high IQ crowd. It's also a crowd looking for any little advantage. Bryant for Rodriguez.
Just hear Danny Dicchio yelling at Maxi Rodriguez to keep this thing circulating, to go out the other way. Just far too congested on this near side.
Good hold up from Amo. Williams down into the corner against Quizera. Got a piece, and then Aravo suffers the contact. Ball through, and this snap back across the face of goal and out. Taking the bird in the hand over the 2 in the bush.
No chances whatsoever from Steven Turnbull. It's because he has his body positioned the wrong way. He doesn't know where Reese Williams is.
Lofted ball through Amumensa, back across. Ryan Williams. Back up from Levi's, and that's miscleared. Another set piece for Detroit City side that's had a plethora in this game. Look overhead here in Hamtramck. If you have a problem with the stadium, you can take it up with FDR. It was back in that administration that they built the bones of this venue. It's undergone a number of renovations in the time since, no doubt. Corner for Detroit. This time it's Yao. Williams. Arivo. Adequately backstopped. Carroll. Yazid Matthews. And Adarce couldn't save it.
You're looking for quality on this set pieces. For Detroit City, the second time that Rhode Island has had the ability to win the initial ball. So whether you go short to look on for the flick on, or you go far, not back across where it came from.
Here's Levi's. Actually lives just over the border in Canada. Native Canadian high for Williams. Smashes across. Took a couple deflections. Approaching the hour mark, you start to get to the point where you contemplate more subs. Some of those adjustments may or may not work coming out of halftime. Williams got bashed.
And you need more productivity as well if you're Connell Smith from your two players higher up the field, Averdico, JJ Williams. That's a hard challenge. Arivo that catches Maxi Rodriguez. Not what you want if you're Connell Smith, the player in the center of the park, picking up a yellow. He makes the initial contact with the ball first. It's Maxi Rodriguez that follows through. To think. Detroit City get away with one here.
Yellow card issued to Haribo. We spoke with Maxi Rodriguez yesterday, and to quote CeeLo Green, he's got a little forget you in him. That's sort of his modus operandi. So many coaches passed on him when he was looking for a club, leaving Richmond. He was the captain of a team that lost a lot of games in 2019. He didn't get a lot of calls back. Maxi Rodriguez carries that chip on his shoulder wherever he goes.
And you see the way that he plays, whether it's defensively on the ball, hard in the challenges, but also has the creativeness to unlock any opposition in their back line. 7 goals, 3 assists on the season. He's a player that if you're Danny Dico, you need to get more out of as well. Yes, I understand you want him to be part of the build-out to break the initial line of pressure, but also he does all of his magic in around that 18-yard box.
Bryant, ball forward. Rodriguez. Bryant also got a yellow card in the aftermath. That tackle from Arivo. Might be on here for Fuson. Deflected by Amumensa. Turnbull rounds the corner. Levi's. Tough challenge. Fuson keeps it in at the line. Fuson gets in line. Fuson hangs this up. Would have gotten through to Quizera, but it had already escaped the line. There's more soccer Friday at 3 Eastern as a new season of the EFL kicks off for Blackburn and Derby County on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount Plus. How great is this? EFL, add that on to the extension of rights for CBS Sports with Serie A. Of course, the USL Championship and all the great competition in Europe with Champions League and Europa League all in one place.
Just can't get enough of it. It's going to do a world of good for the game in our country. More eyes, more exposure. Exactly what you want.
I don't have much in my wallet, but I'd give it all to get Micah Richards to one of these games if he's interested. Big Meeks.
Yeah, that'd be... 15 minutes since coming out of the break. We haven't really seen any sort of side getting any rhythm. Connecting passes have been very Route 1, battling for second balls. That's a nice little pocket for Grant Stillman.
And pushes ahead to Williams. Williams all the way up to the edge of the 18 to see Steinwasser pull it in.
Ryan Williams for Detroit City has been really clever in his positioning as well. He's just sitting right in front of the back three.
And all the way down the line to Reese Williams. Over a Mo. Supporting trailing run off the edge. Turning Levi's. Rodriguez.
Just asking for Reese Williams to make that last post run. Mo does really well. He pulls out, yeah, with him, so there's tons of space on the back end of it. Just talking about Ryan Williams for Detroit City as he's playing centrally now. He's clogging passing lanes. The result of that, we don't see the same fluidity and confidence for the front three for Rhode Island that we saw in the first half. So now the challenge for Connell Smith is, here's Zach Caraveau.
And now Fuson at full speed. Samu Mensah.
Here's Zach Caraveau. You want him to be a little bit higher. Just to kind of overload Ryan Williams, make him chase the game and open up that gap centrally.
There's Reese Williams motoring into the final third. Knocks it down off of Nadarse. Quizera. Crowd engaged again here at Keyworth Stadium outside Detroit. If you want a home playoff game, this is an essential 6-pointer along with a vital head-to-head tiebreak. Matthews, what a slide by Yao, and then sent out of play.
Really clever from Matthews, tries to use the run from Mo to pull out and open up space, but that's flawless in terms of the timing from Khalifa Yao. Needs to get it right, does just that, and picks the pocket of Matthews.
And Levi's off the mark after the fact. A trio of Detroit substitutes preparing to enter. Fuson chasing after it. The underrated prospects of the 5 subs that we've gone to since the pandemic is the poor official trying to program the board for all 3. Substitutions here for Detroit. We'll tell you about them in a moment. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this. Cedeno, Morris, and Villanueva coming in for Amo, Levi's, and Espeleta, who in his first start provided a real spark at the beginning of this game.
It's going to be really interesting now for Detroit City. Now, how quickly can you get those players up to tempo? Specifically, Jacil Cedeno. He's going to play in between the lines. A very crafty player, comfortable in tight spaces, looks to combine. Him and Ben Morris will play alongside underneath Matthews. Now you're asking Matthews to be the focal point. He's going to play centrally. He's going to occupy the three-back of Rhode Island. So now that can afford Ben Morris to make those runs down the channel and really unlock and provide a little bit of depth for Detroit.
That is 4 substitutes utilized by Detroit, pursuing a win here at home, traditionally a true fortress. And the one change for Rhode Island at halftime, Harivo. Holstead. Guzera. Trying to hold that in on the line. Reese Williams. Tremendous effort. Got flattened in midfield. Matthews has to bring it back. Williams shuffled down by Fuson. Rhode Island dips into their bench. This is their first moment, second individual to come off the bench. And it's Mark Doyle, who spoke last week, a couple weeks ago, beg your pardon, about his role as a sub. Obviously disappointed, but once you get over that reaction, you've got a role to play, and Rhode Island have gotten a ton of goals out of their bench.
It's going to be a really interesting opportunity now for Doyle coming in for J.J. Williams, who had a bit of a frustrating 66 minutes. Did really well winning the initial ball, but still understanding, trying to get his feet underneath him, how to play next to Albert Diqua. Those two get going and start to find the back of the net and start to combine. Connell Smith can cause some issues for teams in the Eastern Conference.
Let's go down to Heather with more on the recent triple sub by Detroit.
Yeah, well, keeping in mind that Detroit does have a game on Wednesday, Danny DiGio felt Detroit needed some fresh legs to get a result today. We'll see if it pays off.
Detroit will host Pittsburgh midweek. You'll see it on CBS Sports Network, and then they'll go away to Las Vegas on the weekend. Williams, still Detroit. Outside, Cedeno is overlapping with Villanueva. That's a brand new partnership. Cedeno only arrived from Oakland on Monday. Cedeno's just following around the CBS show, it turns out.
Can't get enough of you, Mike.
Back heel bangs out of play.
I think he's going to be a really interesting part for this Detroit City side, a pocket player. So now if you're an attacking player, you have to make those runs because he will find you. Left-footed by nature, but can play on the right-hand side and challenge into the interior. I think it's going to be an underrated pickup mid-season.
Then Cedeno's roots demolished by Sacramento, one of the top teams in the Western Conference. They, New Mexico, duking it out, top the 12-team West. 2 weeks ago in Oakland. Meanwhile, in the East, Charleston and Louisville, Tampa Bay's flying into that top 3. Indy 11 had an incredible run through the middle of the season, sitting 4th. Matthews with perseverance. Cedeno. Here's Doyle. pride of Dublin. And I spoke to Lee Desmond, who captained Sacramento a couple weeks ago. He said, there are a lot of Irish players who are asking me about my experience over here in the U.S. He actually played alongside Doyle at St. Pat's in Dublin. A lot of interest potentially coming over. Show you the upcoming national TV schedule in the USL. We've got Sacramento and Pittsburgh later tonight on ESPN2. League One coverage of Spokane and Omaha on CBS Sports Network on September 4th. And throughout August, plenty of coverage on CBS Sports and ESPN2. That's a big game for Pittsburgh, who the Emperors found their groove again.
Can they do it on the road against a very talented Mark Breakside, who's kind of struggled to string some string some results uncharacteristic for Sacramento Republic.
Through for Aravo.
It's just been that final action that's been lacking for both sides. If you're Albert Deco, you need to overhit this and let Zach Aravo run onto it. As you take a little bit off it, now Stephen Carroll and just poke it over the line. Hasn't been cleaned up in the attacking phase of the game.
Fuson over the ball, came up through forward Madison. A couple of years in Columbus, the 24-year-old from Los Angeles. Fuson sought Yao, instead Holstead, Doyle, now Quizera. Doyle overlaps. By the way, we mentioned all the national TV coverage between ESPN, TUDN, and of course CBS Sports, which is a new partnership for the league. We've gone from 11 games on national TV last year to over 35 this year. The league continues to grow. Brooklyn's coming. Oklahoma City due to come back. That news coming out. New ownership taking over there. A new majority partner. They've been on hiatus looking for a stadium solution. Hopefully there's good news on that to come as well. Be good to have the energy back in the championship. Williams feels a bit of bluster from Quizera, who's shown a yellow as a result.
Just going back to what you mentioned about Desmond having friends that are over in Ireland wanting and asking about USL Championship, more exposure, more eyes on this league, and understanding that it's actually a destination now. Players want to come and compete at USL Champ because they know the quality that it provides. Once Quizera picks up yellow, a bit of frustration for the wingback. Not making his impact felt as he would like through 73 minutes.
Cecile Cedeno, native of Ecuador. Just trying to get him fully fit and see what he can do when the reins are off. Cedeno hangs up a dangerous ball. A ton of contact, merely a corner to show for it. A penny for Michael Bryant's thoughts.
This is some ball from Cedeno. Right where you want it, on top of that 6-yard box. So if you're Koke Vegas, you need to make a decision. If you go, if you stay. Gets caught in no man's land. Michael Bryant, there is a lot of contact there.
By the way, if this doesn't work out for Cedeno, the playing thing, he's also got his TikTok going. He's the balance guy.
I haven't seen it.
Have you ever seen the occasional thing on TV, the guy with the ladder on his chin? I don't know that he's quite at that level, but Cedeno's got skills. I think he's got bigger concerns at this present juncture. Corner for Detroit. Can they finally cash in approaching the final 15 minutes? Swung into the near post. Karam's high to Villanueva. Cedeno lashing in front, backheel didn't go. Follow up off the crossbar and out. And it was the magic man, Maxi Rodriguez. Wherever he scores, wins follow. Detroit has won or advanced in every game in the last 2 years in which he's scored 13 times, and he's denied by the bar.
Just watch the movement or lack thereof from Maxi Rodriguez as he stands about 12 yards out. It falls kindly to him.
The players that are coming up.
Yeah, unable to get his feet underneath him, just comes too quick. But as he tries to guide it into this top corner, just watch as he's leaning back. That's why it goes up, hits the crossbar. Falls to the player that you would want it to if you're Danny Dicchio. So unfortunate because you have Koke Vegas beat. The only thing that you can't beat is the crossbar.
He was on the verge of making his way to the corner flag. Instead, frustration emanates from the talismanic scorer for Detroit. Hydration break here. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this. So close for Maxi Rodriguez and Detroit to the breakthrough. Both these teams led by first-year head coaches. Danny Dicchio talked about the opportunity to come here to Detroit, get a chance to lead a team of his own. Cano Smith with Rhode Island was previously in Birmingham, got to see how an expansion team was built, working alongside Tommy Sohn. If you think about how the Players Association has tried to give a greater pathway for players to make their way through the pathway into front offices, into coaching roles, it feels like half the former players we're seeing are becoming agents too. There's certainly a way forward and a ton of new blood in the coaching ranks here in the championship. And you think about young guys, Danny Cruz, Ben Pierman, Mark Briggs, some guys that have really bright futures.
And the one thing that you look at all of those coaches, now they have the ability to relate to the players because they've been in their shoes. They understand what it's like to be a USL Championship player and the highs and the lows that come with it, of being a professional athlete. So I do think the best managers are the ones that can really relate on a personal level, but still maintain that relationship that when I say go, I do think we have Danny Dicchio and Cano Smith too at the front of that.
Angling in, Cedeno. Williams, he's got a cannon. Williams hangs it across. Settle back from Morris, who just came on. Cedeno falls in front. There's the goal. He's only just come into the game. Ben Morris. Detroit ahead.
As a number 9, you need to make your living in and around that 18-yard box. Gets the initial action. It's a fantastic first touch, but as he stays onside, look how quickly he gets his feet underneath him. As his ball pops out, the body language, the athleticism, and the technical ability to get your feet right, to close your hips at the last second and guide it into that far post. Yao can't come over quick enough. Low and hard gives you a chance. And the blink of an eye, Ben Morris puts Detroit City up a goal here at home.
Ben Morris, his third of the season. And the celebration for Danny Dicchio, a forward who knows just how much it means to see a striker hit twine in this moment. Fuson the other way, legs it across, up and away by Dequa. Holstead coming, Steinwasser sends it away. Ben Morris spent his entire youth time in Ipswich Town's academy, the recently twice over promoted side, back into the Premiership. And Morris making fans here in Detroit. Another ball last through. Maxi Rodriguez, who created a chance right before the hydration break, watches Morris come to the rescue for Detroit. And they can sweep the season series on Rhode Island here, which is a major head-to-head tiebreak for teams that entered today on the same 28 points.
And just the way that he takes this goal, class from Ben Morris. He understands I'm close in proximity. I do not need to smash it. Just pick out a corner and simply guide it in. So number 9, how do you create your own space? It's so important. Ben Morris does just that.
Detroit wants more. Levied off to Cedeno. Navigates outside. Villanueva toward Morris. His time at Ipswich was upended by 2 ACL tears in 2018 and 2020. Morris finding his way here in Detroit, and what a time to score this one for DCFC.
But you have to give credit to Danny Dicchio, because Ryan Williams, he is the one who initiates this action. He wins the ball, and now you afford your striker to get on the end of it. Class, composed finish, golf swing out of the park. Detroit City in the lead.
He had a little Happy Gilmore in him.
Now, what does the reaction look like for this Rhode Island side? As the subs have came on, McGlynn will play centrally, so that would push. Play Holstead as a right wing back. No, Fuson will play in the left wing back. And you have Isaac Ainking playing underneath Albert Diqua and Mark Doyle.
Fuson stymied by Rodriguez and then commits the foul himself. Talk about reactions. Cano Smith's side has not tasted defeat since they saw this very Detroit team nearly 2 months ago on June the 8th. Becerra came on a moment ago for Detroit, so their 4 subs are in the rear view. Becerra, Morris, Cedeno, Villanueva, and Williams. Player down for Rhode Island. Grabbing at that left leg instantly. I wonder what's gone wrong here.
Ben, you tell him.
Certainly non-contact. And Ankang only just came into the game. Let's go down to Heather with the Rhode Island head coach, Cano Smith.
Coach, we talked about the environment here, add the physicality to today's game. What do you have to do to get the equalizer?
I think there's one more opportunity for us in the game. We just got to create it with some real quality once we get in the final third. Like, I think we've been poor there, so it's going to take one moment of quality. I think we're going to get it, and we just have to take it when it comes.
How do you settle things?
Yeah, obviously we just got to stay calm in possession. Don't panic. The opportunity's coming, so we just got to stay calm.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
I think you see this Rhode Island side have kind of gone away from what they made them so successful. It's not a sight that you want to see.
He's chosen not to show the way he extended his leg out and appeared to catch the turf here as he reached out for the ball. Physical game thus far between two teams with something to prove this afternoon.
You mentioned that it has a bit of a playoff feel. Both teams coming in today tied in the table with 28 points. Shows what it means to get a win here. But yet it's been physical, but there's been a lot of quality on the field as well. Two talented sides, individual brilliance, coached by up-and-coming head coaches as well. But a fantastic spectacle here.
And never a sight you want to see for Isaac Ankang, who was not signed with a professional team last year, and the 5th and final sub proves to be a requirement for Rhode Island now. Joe Brito, who started 10 games and come off the bench now 9 times. The last 2 years with Omaha, including a 2022 run to the Open Cup quarterfinals with a game winner in the round of 16 against Minnesota to his credit.
And he's a player that you need to get on the ball to see this game out. Loves to play in between lines. You find him, you will find the movement of Mark Doyle and Albert Dikwa, and that's something that Rhode Island has gone away from a little bit as this game has progressed. Playing a little bit more route one. They had so much success playing in between lines, quick combination play, movement off the ball. Can they recapture that form for the remaining 6+ here?
UNC Charlotte getting a couple of really great players, ships in the night. Maxi Rodriguez finished there in 2016 with Detroit. Brito started there in 2017. Fuson. Tries to jump over the top of Williams. That went haywire. 5 minutes and stoppage time to play here in Hamtramck. There's an expectation to playing here, an expectancy that you'll fight, that you'll never give up. More often than not, win the game when you play here. Detroit 5 wins in 10 games at home, all competitions this year. Their goal, a home playoff tie, which means top 4. This would go a long way toward that. Miss clearance, Brito.
Just moments like that need to be cleaner. If you're Joe Brito, you receive this ball. It needs to go out the other way. Your hips need to receive it. So you have 2 options: to continue with your momentum, to play to the weak side. But as you play negative, now you put Frank Lopez under some pressure. Results in a turnover.
Nadarse. There's Carroll. He's the longest tenured active captain in Detroit pro sports. Steve Yzerman, another decade or so, and Carroll will catch him. Carroll got a piece there. Rodriguez. At what point, if you're Detroit, is this launch and protect? Are we there?
I would say yes, but you know Danny Dikwa, the way that he wants to play, he wants to get on the ball. He's going to look for that second goal, but now you have to do it in terms of the balance. You cannot overextend yourself trying to double your lead, which leaves yourself vulnerable going back the other way. I do think the best defense now for Detroit City is offense. Take the game away from Rhode Island, let the ball circulate, and when those gaps open up, that's when you can try to exploit the visiting side.
Rhode Island. Could you imagine Rhode Island equalize at 90+3? They have to beware the counter for Detroit if they don't cash in. Corner across, diving header away. Is 1-1 satisfactory? If you're Rhode Island, going on the road and taking anything out of Detroit, borderline miraculous historically.
100%. I do think Connell Smith is going to be very proud of his boys, the way that they fought back.
Long throw in for Rhode Island. Darce went up. Rodriguez sends it wide. We've gone to 7 minutes. Brito aligns, fires, ball bounces through toward Dequa, knocked away from him. And full time arrives in Hamtramck. Rhode Island steal a point 4 minutes shy of full time. And Detroit and Rhode Island will remain level in the standings, now on 29 points.
What a match between both of these clubs. For Rhode Island, you feel like this point was 3. You feel like you took and stole something for Detroit City. So easy to hang your head in this hostile environment and crumble, but that man produced that little bit of individual brilliance that was needed to secure a point.
Detroit and Rhode Island finish 1-1. Ben Morris swings Detroit into the lead in the 78th, but Clay Holstead, a remarkable equalizer, 90+3. Back in a moment. I'll take those. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Hey, in case she says his name, Holstead. Not Ed. Or call him Clay, I'll throw. Woo! Get down. Wow. A couple people caught that Eminem reference.
You got Eminem and T Swift in it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did get Taylor.
Tonight on CBS begins with SWAT, followed by back-to-back editions of 48 Hours. That's tonight on CBS Saturday. The USL on CBS comes to Detroit. We get quite the show. Morris, the go-ahead, but it's Clay Holstead, the heroic equalizer for Rhode Island. He is with Heather.
Clay, talk about just playing in this environment, the physicality, the size of the field. How did it impact you all today in the way that you play?
I mean, we kind of try to play our game, but I mean, with this is my first time being here. The crowd's amazing. It's pretty enclosed area, so I mean, it gets loud. You can't really hear a whole lot. So I mean, they've got a great fan base, but I mean, we're kind of just trying to stick into our game. It's hot, push through, and just see what we can do. And then, I mean, pulling out a point here for anybody that's a pretty decent result. So I guess we'll take it.
The 8-game unbeaten streak continues thanks to your strike. So take us through it.
I'm kind of tired. I cut in. That's kind of what I was planning on doing, just either shooting or crossing, and they just kept backing up. So just kept going. And sometimes you put it on frame and see what happens. So it worked out in my favor this time. So I'll take it. That's for sure.
Great result. Congratulations. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Clay molds an incredible goal. The 24-year-old from Birmingham with a bachelor's in chemical engineering knows perhaps Rhode Island's got the right mix. 8 unbeaten now for Rhode Island in their expansion season. Detroit picks up a point. We'll see them again against Pittsburgh on Wednesday night on CBS Sports Network. For Ricky, Heather, and our entire crew, Mike Watts saying so long from Hamtramck. Final score 1-1. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports in association with the United Soccer League. Yeah. Already canceled. Don't have one tomorrow. I don't work again until Monday. Stop, really? Yeah. Oh, come on. Okay, we do have to do a post-game hit, but no on camera. All right, we're here. We'll throw a headset on. Yep. There were cards for this.
What is it?
CBS Sports HQ. No chance. Not in a million years. That towel around your neck, that's the least of my, come on. Hold on, I'm grabbing this.
So, like we did in Oakland, highlights Heather with Clay.
The highlights are just the goals?
Yeah, I would think so. Right, Sharn? 78 from Morris. And 90 plus 3 from Holstead. Did your parents watch?
Mm-hmm.
Aw. I've never met his parents, but I feel like we're friends. Yeah.
They love your voice.
We've worked together enough on other games. Me and his parents. Devin, like Devin pulled out, and I found out that Ricky was going to be here, and I'm like, oh, no. Okay. Do. I'm going to get to the car in the morning, and my transmission is going to drop out of it. You know that.
What time's your flight now?
7 a.m. When's yours?
I think I'm
like 7:05. All right, here we go. This is Mike Watts with Ricky Lopez-Espin with your CBS Sports HQ post-game report. Takes a lot to quiet the crowd in. Okay. Yep. I don't hear music. Okay. Should I be hearing it? Oh, sorry. This is Mike Watts with Ricky Lopez-Espin with your CBS Sports HQ post-game report. Takes a lot to quiet the crowd in Detroit, but Rhode Island does it with a equalizer in stoppage time. Ricky, the scoring started in the 78th. Ben Morris right off the bench.
Well, you have to give credit to Ryan Williams. He keeps this thing alive, but then look at the movement and how quickly Ben Morris gets his feet underneath them. He understands I'm close. I don't need to hit it hard. Just simply pick out a corner and hit it out of the park.
So Morris puts Detroit ahead, but it's Clay Holstead who has the final laugh today.
Outside in, no one steps to close out in the space. Clay Holstead says thank you very much, and just look at the technical ability. Left leg around the ball, bending it into the top corner. Rhode Island steal a point here at Keyworth.
Score the stunner, talk to Heather Mitz postgame.
Clay, talk about just playing in this environment, the physicality, the size of the field. How did it impact you all today in the way that you play?
I mean, we kind of try to play our game, but I mean, with this is my first time being here. The crowd's amazing. It's pretty enclosed area, so I mean, it gets loud. You can't really hear a whole lot. So I mean, they've got a great fan base, but I mean, we're kind of just trying to stick into our game. It's hot, push through, and just see what we can do. And then, I mean, pulling out a point here for anybody that's a pretty decent result. So I guess we'll take it.
The 8-game unbeaten streak continues thanks to your strike. So take us through it.
I'm kind of tired. I cut in. That's kind of what I was planning on doing, just either shooting or crossing, and they just kept backing up. So just kept going. And sometimes you put it on frame and see what happens. So it worked out in my favor this time, so I'll take it. That's for sure.
Great result. Congratulations. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Rhode Island now 8 unbeaten, Detroit 6 without a victory. That's all for us here in Hamtramck. Final score is Detroit City 1, Rhode Island 1.